Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Push to Pass F1 podcast. And finally, we are back to a duo. Reef is back after his ventures. How are you feeling,
My
buddy?
hiatus.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I missed the pod. I was sat on the beach, hungover, thinking, oh, I'd love to be recording a podcast right now.
Yeah, sounds like you missed it. No, instead I sat in my office and spoke to my camera for 27 minutes straight. But that is also our second best ever video, so hold that.
You're joking.
Genuine.
Oh,
But we
I'm not going to beat the allegations.
we are we're filming this on a Tuesday, so we're still a bit in the aftermath of the Monaco Grand Prix. Um, it happened,
It did.
and not a lot then happened.
I can confirm it did happen though.
I can confirm the Monaco Grand Prix did take place, but it wasn't the best, was it?
It wasn't. It was one of the most disappointing I felt, just because of the rule change came in with the two stops, and I thought this is what it needs. This is it. We'll get some good racing. It'll spice things up. But if anything, I think it just worsened it. It just made it a complete car park.
Yeah, I was in the complete other camp. I thought that mandatory two-stop would make zero difference, and I don't think it really did. Except
No,
we had
yeah.
there was like Max who went pretty much tried to drive to the end and pit with about 5 laps left. But
I think it was like this second to last lap, wasn't it?
yeah, because me and Reef literally just spoke with this. I didn't watch the race because I was hiking a mountain in Brecon, but I was following it along on the app and I was seeing who had made their two stops, and it was lap like 64, 78 or something, and it was like everyone else had done their two stops except Max, and I was like, what is he trying to do? It's clear he was going for like a safety car, a red flag or something weird
Yeah.
to kick up, but yeah, it didn't work. And I think a lot of the drivers have come out and sort of said the same thing. I know George was quite vocal about it. He didn't agree with it at all.
Mm. I
Look at you, your cup of tea.
it's the hope that kills you. I think you're anti Monaco Grand
I'm
Prix,
very anti
so
Monaco Grand Prix.
I'm not surprised when you thought the rule change wouldn't make a difference. But as someone who's pro Monaco, I was like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what it needs. And as I said, it's like the clinging on to the hope is the bit that kills you inside.
Well, let's
And
start the weekend with something which caused quite a bit of debate on social media and caused a bit of a stir was Lance Stroll's antics, especially with being a bit blind, I think, is the general feeling.
yes, it did when he. Wait, I'm
Well,
getting it mixed up now.
well,
Did
he,
someone run into the back of him, or did he run into the back of
well,
someone?
Leclerc went off in just before the hairpin, then joined back, and then he went into the back of Stroll because Stroll moved over him,
Yes.
and then Stroll got done for impeding again in qualifying for impeding. I think Leclerc again, or he might have impeded Gasly because he got confused between the two.
Well, to defend my Canadian prince, if you're going to get done for impeding twice in a weekend, make it Monaco at
Oh yeah,
least, because I can imagine it is very much hard work to stay out of people's way. Saying that twice isn't great, and also doing it to Charles of
Lord
all
Charles.
people
I
is
saw
is not great.
I saw a thing on TikTok the other day. It was like, because was it last year where they like let him stand alone in the national anthem before the race?
Yeah,
And someone was like, oh my god, they've taken it away from him. How dare they? Formula One is so biased. And I was like, but you don't see that at any other race, do we?
no, I get it, but I'm in the opinion of he's had his moment now. He won it last year.
Yeah, let it go.
Yeah, like if he doesn't win it again, at least he won it once, sort of thing.
Your goat had a tricky, because we won't talk about any of the race or anything yet, but your goat had a trip into the barriers, didn't he?
Yeah, well, I thought Ferrari actually looked better this weekend.
I think they were probably.
Say it. Go on, say it.
They were probably the quickest car, and
Yeah,
they were probably like, as much as coming into it, I was very much McLaren heavy. McLaren and Red Bull just didn't really seem to turn up until qualifying.
I thought McLaren had the pace, but Ferrari did look good, which is I sort of expected that.
which is a shock.
But I mean, better weekend, I'd say. I mean, obviously, trip to the barrier is not great, but yet again to be expected. Got to find the limit in a new car.
And before we get into anything F1 related, did you see the Formula 2?
I didn't watch the race, but I saw the pilot. Yeah.
I woke up about 10-20 minutes after that happened, and I had like the notification through on Sky, and I was like, oh, 11 car pilot, it probably can't be that bad. And then I looked at it and I was like, Jesus, wow.
I really, really want to see Alex Dunn in F1. I feel like he will cause carnage. I think he'd be such good television. I think he'd be class.
Chaos baller.
I think he would be.
But
No holds barred.
speaking of F2, one of the things I did see was Carlos Sainz suggested that they follow the same format of qualifying as F2, where they have two groups.
Nah.
I was very much no, because I think Monaco qualifying is an issue, it's the race. But,
Yeah.
and also F2 have a 24 car grid, don't they?
It's bigger, yeah, they got more teams.
So, I think F1 are trying to like focus on fixing literally everything but what they need to fix, which is those stupidly big cars.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
we'll
they're
get
10
onto that,
they're
won't we?
10 centimeters shorter, well, skinnier next year.
Yeah, still too big.
It won't make a difference.
Still too big for a track like that.
Let's look
I
into
don't want to say it, but you're never gonna get good racing around there.
let's look into qualifying. Franco Colapinto P20, not the best, is it?
To be expected.
That 5 race contract is whittling down.
I expected that, to be honest.
Kimi Antonelli went out because he decided to remember he was 18 and went crash bang wallop.
Yeah, he had a tough weekend.
Yeah,
Really
but
tough weekend.
to be fair, with Monaco, it's not sort of expected, but you can sort of give him a bit of like a benefit of the doubt.
Oh yeah, sorry. Just to segue into something else. What did you think of? Was it? I think it was Ralph Schumacher who said about Kimi bringing all his classmates to the last Grand Prix.
I didn't see
And
that.
say-
But I saw he bought them because I saw they were in the paddock or something.
Yeah, basically he was saying how this is a job and you wouldn't do that in your regular job. So why are you doing it here? Why do you have to put such a negative spin on everything?
I hate ex-F1 drivers and like F1 pundits will do everything in their power to kill F1 being like slightly different than a professional sport.
I know it's where's the harm in doing that?
What difference does it make? Like every driver brings like they'll either bring family or they'll bring like a partner or they'll bring like like Daniel Ricciardo's friend was his personal trainer for like 3 or 4 years.
What a job that is.
I know, what a life to live. But like,
Yeah.
why is it F1's? I think that's one issue with F1 is it's very much stuck in the past with like everything's professional and everything's got to be this and everything's it's like a job. To a lot of the drivers, they don't really treat it like a job anymore. Like
Well-
as soon as they're outside the car, they're very much more like this is like a hobby and this is a social space.
I think that's the drive to survive effect as well.
Yeah.
I think they've realised that they've got to brand themselves in that sort of way to become successful. I still think they take it deeply serious because, of course, they do. It's their life's work, and every race to them is, the like Everest. But off track, they've got to act all like, natural.
I'm gonna pose a question to you. Do you know in F2 in qualifying they have a rule: if you bring out the red flag, you get your best time deleted.
I didn't know that.
You did right. So I'm gonna double check just to make sure that's the case, but I think it is. So basically, I think what it is, if you bring out the red flag in a qualifying session, you get your quickest time deleted. So basically, like say if you went and got pole. Yeah, a red flag can impact a driver's session results. If a driver is deemed the sole cause of red flag, they'll be barred from further participation in the qualifying session.
I think that's so harsh.
And their fastest lap time may be late. But also, do you not think like we saw with Kimi, who like he got through, but then also crashed, so then couldn't take part. Do you think then he should have the penalty if they go, well, you got to start from the back from there? Because we saw it with Charles a couple of years ago, didn't we? Where like he'd get pole and then conveniently crashed.
Yeah, well, that's different, I think. If you're getting pole and then all of a sudden you're pushing it a little bit too much and then you crash, different story. But how are we going to expect drivers to push the limits and truly go as fast as they can if in the back of their mind they've got to think, right, I can't bring out a red flag here because it's going to basically ruin my whole weekend.
I think it's harsher to have it in F2 because you're asking people who are like very young and very inexperienced to still push as hard as they can because they're fighting for the future, but also don't bin it because, you know, you can may as well start the race before.
The only sort of penalty under flags that I agree with is, I don't know actually if it is in F1, but in MotoGP, if you crash under an existing yellow flag or red flag, you get a penalty. Because I think that makes sense, because you shouldn't be going as hard as you can to the point where you need to crash.
Yeah, I think
if you're under yellows.
That's limiting people like taking bit, isn't they?
Yeah.
Because like you see it, especially with like the VSC and stuff like that. If that came out, people would be like, "Oh, you got to keep your delta below this," and they'll floor it for as long as they can, and then just slam on the brakes so they can meet it.
Yeah.
Any other notable stories in qualifying? Sainz qualified 11th, disappointing. But also, I think it is for how good Williams have been and how good Sainz have been this year. But also, I think Williams have had just a bit of an off weekend this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's allowed in a place like Monaco.
To be fair, we had some quite shock names in Q3. We had Lawson,
Hadjar.
Ocon, Hadjar, Alonso. Hamilton finished 4th.
He's not washed. Yes.
Yeah, let's move into the race. So let's do our top 10 rating for the top 10, because realistically there's not much to talk about in the race. Mercedes and George decided to straight line the chicane a few times. I think Bortoletto crashed.
He did. It was first lap with Kimi.
What?
Did a really nice move around the chicane. Oh, the hairpin, sorry. Did a really round the outside move, round the hairpin on the first lap, and then the next corner just before the tunnel. It's not. He didn't get punted off, but he had no room whatsoever. Kimi went straight back up the inside.
Lando had his little lock up into turn 1, didn't he?
Yeah, I saw that and I thought,
oh god, not another one.
Just maybe, that'd be long-lasting damage.
The bottle could come early.
I did think that. I thought, oh Christ, he's put it on pole and now he's going to have given himself a flat spot into the first corner.
Well, Oscar did that in FP2, didn't he? He just went straight on at turn 1.
Mm-hmm. Proper clanged into the barrier. That was a bad crash.
Gasly DNF'd as well, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he had no brakes.
Fernando Alonso was, again, the world's unluckiest driver. I think
did you hear him snap back at his engineer?
No, I did not. Inform me.
All to do with sort of like strategy, and he wanted to get ahead of the two-stop of who I think it was Hamilton and Hadjar in front, and the Racing Bulls were using Lawson to back everyone up. So
yeah,
Hadjar
I saw that bit.
Yeah, so they were basically like, right, Alonso, push, and he just the most generational bite on the other end. It was so funny. I was like,
I think that you just mentioned with Lawson. I think that highlights just why the two-stop doesn't work.
Yes, I agree.
You can literally, like with what RB did, they just said to Lawson, just drive in them, because in Monaco, if you drive in the middle of the track, no one will overtake you.
Yeah,
and you just let your teammate get points. But also, Liam Lawson did pick up some points in the end. So we have in P10 Carlos Sainz, qualified 11th, finished 10th.
I gained the position.
Yeah, that's because Alonso retired.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a 5 out of 10.
I think a lot of people are going to just be getting fives because nothing really happened.
Hey, I don't know, mate. Isaac Hadjar could be in for another 10 out of 10. Purely for the fact he's a rookie. Alex Albon, P9, he qualified. I bet you're not going to guess this one.
Did he qualify ninth?
No, I qualified 10th, mate.
Oh shit! Yeah, everyone went up.
Everyone got bumped up.
He gets a bit higher just because he rattled both Mercedes.
I'll give him a 6.
Give him like a 6 or
It's a
7.
middle road. Liam Lawson qualified 9th, I want to say. Let me check. Yeah, qualified 9th, finished 8th. I will go with an 8 out of 10 for Liam Lawson.
Oh, he literally stole what I was going to say.
Yeah, get good, kid.
8, just because he played the team game and he got points. So if that's a win-win for him.
Well, that's probably... I'm confident in saying that's definitely his best drive of the year. And to do it in Monaco, in Monaco makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, it does and it doesn't, because as you said, he drove in the middle of the track for most of it. So
he was a roadblock. P7, Esteban Ocon. He qualified in a whopping 8th place and then finished a whopping 7th.
Wow. Ocon's really good this year.
I know,
he's really good.
Well, how many points has he got so far this year? Drivers. Esteban Ocon is currently 9th in the Constructors' Championship with 20 points.
That's really impressive.
He's beaten Isaac Hadjar, Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Nico Hulkenberg, and then all the rookies, and Fernando Alonso.
I think this Haas is like the perfect place for him because there's no expectation when he comes into a weekend, but he's a good enough driver where he can deliver.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of he's giving me Perez vibes of when Perez used to be Force India and that. Of where
I think that is exactly his role now.
Yeah,
in F1.
It's not going to be every weekend. He's not going to be smashing points, or he's not going to be the best driver on the grid. But 100%, if there's an opportunity for him to grab points, he will.
Yeah.
Just a little stat about Esteban Ocon. He's currently 3 points off his points total for last year.
I mean, that means the Haas have made a jump then as well, a significant jump.
Well, Haas last year finished on 58 points in the constructor, and Ocon's already scored 20.
Yeah, and Behrman's had a good few as well.
Let me see. Ollie Behrman.
He must be on double figures.
He's on 6.
What? Wow. I thought he was on about 11.
No, he's not that good. Yes.
Either way, they're doing all right.
Yeah, they're just very, very, very hit and miss at the moment. A bit more consistency.
Yeah, fair.
P6, we had Isaac Hadjar. Started the race in P6 and finished P6.
Good drive.
Yeah, give him a 7.
Hadjar?
Yeah.
I'll give him more. I'll give him a 9.
A 9? Ah, yeah, to be fair. He's
good qualifying.
He's best of the rest. Finished 6th.
Did what he needed to do, didn't put it in the wall. He could have so easily got excited on that first few laps, being in such a good position. He could have sent it into the wall, and he didn't. He did the smart thing, and I thought it was a really good drive.
He is so good.
He is good.
He's quietly, and to put this nicely, battering Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, but I think he's probably in the better car.
Yeah, I'll bump mine out. I'll give him a 8. P5, Lewis Hamilton qualified 4th, finished 5th. For a weekend on the whole, it's not the best.
It's just bang average. It's the same as I'm still firmly in the camp of Cope, of that he's just coasting in the car because he knows that they don't have enough to win, so he just wants to keep it out of trouble.
Did you see the radio messages between him and his race thingy? So
I did see one.
He was 50 seconds behind the pack of the top 4, and he came on the race engine on his radio and was like, "Oh, what's the gap? How am I a minute behind?" And then no one replied to him. And he was like, "Oh, are you angry at me?" And then in the media pen afterwards, someone from, I think Sky, asked him, "Do you know why you were 52 seconds behind?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, not really." And she was like, "Well, surely you know as a driver. And he was like, I finished fifth. And she was like, well, yeah, but you're 52 seconds behind. Surely you know, like, why that gap is so big. And he was like, I think we're just going to have to look at it as a team.
Bit weird.
I don't think they're getting on, Ferrari and him.
Nah, it doesn't look like it because obviously there's been a few times now in other races as well where there's been a few little spats, but I think that's more. I think it's a Ferrari issue more than a Lewis issue, just because I think they're just badly run.
Yeah, it also might be a bit of like new team issues because you got to remember he's only what 6, 7 races in.
Yeah,
so like
but
a lot of
it's
people.
not his first go round, is it?
Oh no, a lot of people would have expected a lot more, but also if he had joined Red Bull or something, or if he joined McLaren and he was having these issues right now, I think people would be giving him a lot more stick. I think people just have zero expectations of Ferrari.
I think so. I think people's like sort of faith in Ferrari is just not. They're not. It's not there.
P4 Max Verstappen qualified in P5, finished 4th.
Such a strange race from him. like, don't get me wrong. I think the whole the pit in right at the end and stuff was more of like a. I don't know. It's like you said, it was partially like hoping for like a red flag or a safety car, but also it was like you know how he could be a bit petty at times. I think maybe that was a sort of like.
Yeah, I think he's
how the 2-stop doesn't work.
Yeah, I think he's then also like afterwards he can use it as sort of like ammo to be to people like, oh yeah, Monaco's get rid of it. I don't want it. And they're like, oh, but you've got this new 2-stop, and then he's gone pretty much to the end, and he's like, yeah, but it still doesn't work. People can have different strategies. Well, Bernie Collins came into the weekend, and she was like, oh, some teams may as well pit on lap 1 and go to the end, and then pit again.
Yeah.
It was set up.
It's a little bit.
Max, I'll give him a 6.
I'm going to give him a 5 purely just because it's bad for the championship.
Ooh, hatred. Someone doesn't like Max Verstappen. P3, Oscar Piastri qualified 3rd, finished 3rd. Did he qualify 3rd? Yeah, he did.
It's no, it's good for him as in for the championship. Still on the podium. Been on the podium other than Australia. I think as long he's done enough work now in the past races to kind of give up a few points as long as he's still there or thereabouts.
Yeah, I think as long as he's finishing in the top 3, he doesn't need to win every race.
Yeah, this weekend wasn't a disaster, and it could have been like he'd have been put behind after that quite heavy crash in FP2. So I don't think you can really complain too much. He nearly binned it though. Did you see him like kiss the? It was the first corner again. He got a drift on.
Yeah, he did that. I think him and a few other drivers did that quite a few times over the weekend, and I think he did it just before his crash in FP2 as well. He said like, oh, "I think I've nicked the wall coming out of turn 1."
Yeah.
I will go with a 6.
I'm going to go with a 7.
I think it's just a bit middle of the road, isn't it?
Yeah.
P2, Charles Leclerc started 2nd, finished 2nd. I am going to go with a 9 out of 10.
I thought it was good. It was a good weekend. I thought, I just wish in like the last like 10 or so laps, Verstappen was kind of backing them all up. It was getting quite close between Norris and Leclerc. A dive bomb could have been on the cards, but it was a bit of a risk. I just feel like if things went slightly different, he could have been in with a shout of winning.
Well, he was. Oh, let me just check the gap. So he
tailed it off towards the end.
Well, he only qualified like a 10th down on Norris, and then finished 3 seconds off. Yeah, so like a 10th. If he gets pole position, he's pretty much winning the race.
Yeah, I'd say.
But like, in the show beforehand, I said like I don't expect any Charles Leclerc miracle drives, and I was very wrong because that's probably one of, if not the most complete weekend we've seen from Charles. Like I think, I'm pretty sure I'm saying he topped all practice sessions. Yeah, P1, P2. yeah,
What are you talking about for this year?
yeah, this year I think it's
Yeah.
probably the most complete we've seen him, and like the most happy we've seen him with the Ferrari underneath him. Like,
Didn't you expect that though?
um, yeah, but also I think any other year I would have, but also this year, this Ferrari, I just didn't really have much faith.
I think he'll go straight back down to like fifth, sixth, seventh next race.
Well, we have the new, well, they call it a
Oh
regulation
yeah,
change in it
it's
this
coming
weekend.
in, isn't it?
It's for the
Yeah.
front wings, which Christian Horner thinks that it's going to affect McLaren the most. But
I can't see Ferrari having done a lot of sort of R&D to that though. I can't imagine they've put a lot in that.
I don't think it's going to make the slightest bit of difference.
No,
Because
I don't
if
think
you
so, yeah.
remember when Red Bull were dominating and we had a technical delegate brought in, I think it would have been 2022 or 2023, and they were bringing one into Spa to stop like all the. But this is back when porpoising was a thing, and
Yeah.
they were like, we need to bring in a new delegate to make the floors this whatever, and then Max put like 1.8 seconds on the field in qualifying. So I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, but I think it'll make things tighter in the terms of, I think Red Bull especially will be able to give Max more of like a challenging car week in and week out. And I think Ferrari might close the gap up a bit, and I think Mercedes as well, but I still would say McLaren comfortably would have the quickest package.
Well, they've known about this for a while, so they're going to have planned for it. So I can't see it making the slightest bit of difference.
Also, this is could, if Red Bull don't perform better, could be the end of Christian Horner.
Yeah, let's hope so.
That's been widely reported that he'll offer his resignation if performances don't improve after Spain, which is the next weekend. P1, Lando Norris qualified first, finished first. Boring race,
Yeah.
but fair play to him. 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give it 10, just because why not?
I think it's what Lando needed desperately.
Oh yeah, and well yeah, definitely needed a win. Nice for him to win Monaco. He's never won it before, so is he? No, he's not.
No,
he's not.
he did the podium when they did the golf livery.
Yes. Back when I liked him.
Stop. You hate Lando Norris.
I don't hate Lando.
I don't.
Norris.
I hate his fans.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's
But
just
no, really good weekend.
yeah. I think it was, like, especially coming into this European leg now. I think a better result in Imola. He had one over Oscar, and now he's got one over on him again. I think like if he can keep building a few weekends, then like towards the midfield sort of end of this European leg we're in, that we could have like a really close title fight between the two McLarens. Yeah. I say European leg. We have Canada in a few weeks.
Woo!
What's your biggest winner and biggest loser from the weekend?
My biggest winner is boring, but it's for everything we've just discussed. It is Lando Norris. He is the biggest winner.
I was going to say Charles Leclerc, but I can see Lando Norris. Biggest loser.
You could say Charles Leclerc, but as I said, I fully expect.
Yeah, I think for the
to be back in like 5th and 6th next race.
And I also think for the wider picture, I think it's better for Lando to get a result now.
Yeah. Biggest loser.
I've got mine 100%. It's anyone who says the Monaco Grand Prix is good.
Yeah.
Because
that is true.
we will go on to this briefly in a minute, but I think they've officially tried everything they can.
Yeah.
Because I can't think, like, George Russell's even suggesting having a button where like people can turn on sprinklers and stuff.
What?
Did you not see that?
No.
Right, so George Russell's his idea is, and I think it was quite obvious he was joking, he said every driver should have a button where they can press, and you can use it in the race or qualifying, but you can only use it once a weekend, and it can turn on the sprinklers at any point of the track.
Or just make it really wet.
Yeah, so like Mario Kart.
Righto, yeah. No, other than like knocking it all down and starting again, which obviously is not going to happen. I can't see how you're ever going to get back and forth overtaking racing there.
I think
It's just too small.
I think they have to have one last roll of the dice and like try change the layout a bit. And I would make the tunnel a DRS zone, and that the Novel chicane after it. I would like move. I'd get rid of that so it's just down and straight, and then to back I would make more of like a harsher turn.
Oh, okay.
Because the one thing Monaco doesn't really have is a straight, and if you make the tunnel DRS zone, maybe not the entire tunnel because Jesus, the speed they would pick up, but if you like have it so they come out of the tunnel and then they dip down and they're still like side by side, and then Tabak is like that sweeping corner before the swimming pool section. If they if they literally just round that off, so it's just a bit of a harsher left-hander.
So it would become more of a braking zone.
Yeah.
For a dive bomb or a switchback.
And also that the last like two corners need to be like either flattened or made a lot wider, because they are actual overtaking opportunities, but also they are stupid.
I wouldn't want to flatten them, because I think having the camber is
I like
what makes it Monaco.
It's satisfying when they like come out the last corner and they proper hook it up and get a grip, and they can floor it.
Making it wider would be interesting, and I think could potentially be possible. I like your idea of having a straight and then readjusting to back.
Well, the other thing I saw, someone said put a Hot Wheels jump over the harbour.
You can use that once a race. But
that would, do you know what? That wouldn't even be a bad idea. Making a Monaco Joker lap.
Yeah, right. This is the end of the podcast. Yeah, sound.
Let's add. Just get rid of it. Bring Macau in.
Macau, Christ! If you don't like, yeah, no, Macau. Macau's crazy.
Do you think it's going to be any better next year with the smaller cars?
Won't make a difference.
Oh,
they're still going to be too big.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make the slightest niche bit of difference. Even Formula 2, which is smaller, they're still quite wide, but even they struggle to have decent racing and many passes. Like you had Arvid Lindblad literally just hold everyone up and then bomb it.
Yeah, it's just the spectacle of it though. Like you just can't get rid of it.
Oh, shut about your spectacle.
You can't. I don't think you can get rid of it.
If you want to watch good racing on that weekend, watch the Indy 500.
Oh,
I watched that, and that was good.
I think but I've got a gripe with that. So I've never, in fairness, I've never really watched it properly before.
Yeah,
I've kept in touch with who wins it and stuff, but I missed most of it. But I watched the last 25 laps. One anticlimactic ending.
Yeah, the issue was, and a lot of people spoke about this, is in IndyCar, because of how quick, especially on the ovals, how quick a lap is, blue flags don't really make a difference, because like there's no real pace difference, so the people who've lapped are allowed to unlap themselves. So like, you had two cars ahead of them, which were basically just slipstreaming the entire four. Like a couple of years ago, I remember, God, when would it be, 2023, there was like a caution thrown with 2 laps left, and it was literally like a 2-lap shootout between Marcus Ericsson and Joseph Newgarden, and that was good. But the actual racing time, like the first 100 laps was pretty much spent under caution, and then the last like 100, nothing major went on, but there was like 6 different people who could have won it.
Yeah, and I like Alex Palou, so
yeah,
that's
good
cool.
lad. He was with McLaren a couple of years ago,
and that's pretty cool. So
yeah, let's not talk about Monaco anymore. Spain coming up. Fan? No fan? Hate? Love?
It's better than Monaco, but it's not one of the best tracks
Correct
in all the world.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a MotoGP track.
It is, yeah.
Ah, look at you, loving your little 2 wheels. I like it. I think it's a very satisfying track to watch a car go around.
Yeah, it's better for bikes. I will say that.
Everything's better for bikes, according to you.
No, not everything, but I think it's more of a bike track than a car track, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
I
But
think
it's not a bad track by all means. I like it.
no. I think this is probably the opposite of Monaco, where half the time strategy ruins it
Yeah,
because people just try to go stupidly long. But um, yeah, we still got two Spanish drivers, so that'll be fun because they usually have some sort of promo for both of them, don't they?
yeah, and Spain are great. Spanish are just they love their racing.
I'm actually looking at going to the Spanish Grand Prix next year.
It's one of the cheaper ones, isn't it?
Yeah, Spain. I think me and a few of my friends are looking at the Spanish Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix, or Austria.
Exact same as what I've been looking at. They're the main three that would be doable.
Except the cheapest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Monza wants like a grand to do.
Yeah, that's the one. I think I said in the last pod I was on that is one that I looked at, but it's not attainable.
Right, let's do some predictions. Give me your qualifying top three.
Hate this bit because it's just sort of
It's such a shot in the dark, and usually afterwards you look like a.
pretty much. So with that being said, because I'm not going to get it right anyway, we're going to go for Gabby Bortolao on pole. No, we'll go with a Max Verstappen pole.
Huh? Sorry, I'm reading something. Just quickly. Formula One and PepsiCo have become partners. PepsiCo are the company that own like Gatorade and Doritos.
Right.
So when we get a Gatorade Formula One team.
Yeah, great, brilliant.
Ma-
mint that.
Right, sorry, Max Verstappen pole. Where have you pulled that from?
I don't know. I just feel
Are
like
you a
he'll go
believer
well.
in the new technical delegate?
Yeah, why not? It might make a difference. Probably won't.
It
But
will.
we'll go for it.
I don't think it's going to make the shadow of a difference.
But I don't think Max on pole is a crazy statement. I think he'll go well.
Pole position. I will go with. Oh, I don't know, because I'm trying to think who's been decent. I nearly said Sebastian Vettel, but that's a long old way ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, pull yourself out of 2013.
I will go with Lando Norris.
Okay, yeah,
Back to back.
cool.
Give us a top three for the race.
My top three for the race will be Oscar Piastri is going to win again.
Is it?
He's going to win. I think Max will be second, and I think Lando will be third. It's so boring, isn't it? But I think that's what's going to happen.
I will go with Oscar Piastri to win.
Wins.
Lando Norris second, and Charles Leclerc third.
What's going to happen to Max?
I die.
Yep.
No, I think Red Bull have been so like bigging up this technical change and this like overhaul, and they're like, it's going to pretty much be a new regulation change, that it would be the funniest thing ever for them to rock up and get like knocked out in Q2.
Crazy you're saying this with a Red Bull t-shirt on.
Hey, I'm here for the content, not the success of Christian Horner.
No, to be fair, would be brilliant if Horner goes. I don't. Who goes there then though? Who's who would be the guy?
I don't. They'd probably put like. Would they? I don't know whether they'd put Helmut Marko in, and then.
Surely not.
And then
I do not believe that.
And then try and find someone, or unless they say to like GP or something, do you want to take over?
I'm genuinely convinced that they keep him round because they have to, but as they like try lock him in a room as much as they can. There is no way they make
Stay in
him
the motorroom.
TP. There is no chance.
Or unless they ask VCarb, can they have his? Can they have theirs? And then
Is that Franz Tost? Is that Franz Tost?
Franz Tost has not been there for a while, my friend. I think it's Lauren Meckies.
Oh dear.
VCarb, TP. Nope. Team principal.
Is it just me though?
Lauren Meckies.
Team principals when when I was younger, they never used to change.
Oh, team principals nowadays are woke.
And now they change like most teams like have at least two a year now. That never used to happen, I feel like.
I remember when like Ross Brawn, Eddie Jordan,
Yeah.
R.I.P. We're a legend.
Yeah, I did see Sky did like a tribute for him this weekend because he loved Monaco, and I thought that was class.
Well, he did a lot of the punditry when we would have been growing up, didn't he?
Yeah,
He did a bit with like
yeah.
ITV with like
Oh yeah,
Coulthard
he
and
was
that.
like BBC, him, Jake Humphrey.
Oh, Jake Humphries, what a blast from the past.
That was
With
like like that's what I remember.
with James Allen on commentary.
Yeah.
People nowadays will never not even know who James Allen is.
To be honest, I'm struggling to think who James Allen
You
is.
don't remember James Allen? He is probably the best F1 commentator, bar like Murray Walker. He's like a British guy, and he did like the. I'm trying to think ones you would have known. Remember when
No.
Jenson Button won his first race, and he was like, "Get in there." He would have done like when Jenson
Yeah.
won his first race. He did when Vettel won his first race.
James Allen.
But if you hear his voice, you'll know who he is.
I'm
He
gonna play it now.
used to be him and Martin Brundle.
Just a little interlude in the pod, one sec. Oh, right, yeah, of course I do. I
Yeah.
just didn't know his name.
No, yeah, James Allen. He would
Oh,
have
oh yeah.
he was there before Crofty, I think.
I quite like Crofty.
And I do. I think he gets a bit of stick. Don't get me wrong.
Does get stick.
He gets some stuff wrong, but also it's sports commentary. You're gonna,
Yeah,
because like as a commentator, you are like sort of responsible for like being the forefront. That's why I think people prefer Martin Brundle because he gets a lot more time to think about what he says.
yeah. But even then, people don't like Brundle, and I don't know how you can't like Brundle.
I quite
I
like
think
because
Brundle,
for
Brundle's
Imola we
class.
didn't have Crofty, did we? We had James Benjamin, Alex Benjamin,
I know the guy you're on about.
Benjamin.
He's okay.
Yeah, he used to be the BBC's commentator. He's
Yeah.
good, but like, yeah, some like when like Gilles, no, not Gilles Villeneuve. When is it Gilles or Jacques? When Jacques Villeneuve's on like commentary, and I turn.
Honestly, I'm terrible. I get them mixed up all the time.
No, like Jacques Villeneuve's done commentary a few times. I can't stand him.
Yeah.
Nico Rosberg's all right to listen to. I don't
Nah,
mind.
I can't. Mate, it's just because I'm a Hamilton fanboy, but you can never just like congratulate him, and he's just German, and like that's not in like a bad
Whoa.
way. As in, whoa, 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 whoa. No, that's just like the way that they are naturally. It's like
Yeah, I think
so matter of fact. It's just I don't think it lends itself to like TV.
no. It's just people say the same with like Dutch people. They're very upfront.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
and
Croft,
that
like
I just think, yeah,
like Crofty, if like someone makes a mistake, he'll be like, oh, maybe he's like hit a bit of wet patch or something. And Nico Rosberg will be like, nope, his fault, sack him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But like the worst one, I think, is Paul de Resta. When they had Paul de Resta about,
God.
he was dog shit.
He
not good.
is currently doing WEC, I think.
Yeah, he's done that for ages, I think, on
Yeah,
and off.
because Anthony Davidson's the other one they bring in sometimes when they have him on the Sky
Yeah,
Pod.
I don't mind him. I
No,
think he's right.
he's good because he is a Mercedes test. No, he's a Mercedes sim driver, I think.
Right, yeah.
Or he used to be,
What
so he's good.
What do you think of Jolyon Palmer?
I really like him.
I think he's alright.
I think he's one like, in my opinion, if you're a crap driver, you probably will make a decent pundit.
That's
Like-
brutal.
But he was.
For F1 standards, yeah. But did you know his dad owns like all the major tracks in the UK?
I knew he
Yeah.
came. I knew he came in with like big backing.
Yeah, his dad is like Jonathan Palmer, and he owns Motorsport Vision, which is like the MSVR own they own like Brands Hatch.
I went to an MSVR event the other day. When
Did
I went,
you?
Yeah, when I went to this, when I went, so a couple of, when have I been? The same weekend as the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, I went to the Silverstone Hotel, and there was an MSVR like track day there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's Jolyon Palmer's dad. He owns that.
The more you know. What a weird tangent we've gone on.
Yeah, I know. Are we going to keep this in?
Yeah, it brings us up to 45
Okay.
minutes. That'll do. I'll cut this bit
Yeah.
out. And I might have to bleep you saying because he's German.
No, no, no. Leave it in. Just don't clip it.
Leave it. Oh, that's going to make a brilliant clip for TikTok.
Nah, don't. I don't want anyone fucking be singing like 10 on the TikTok chat.
When you've got Julie going, boys, what's this about then? Right, that is it for the Push to Pass F1 podcast. We hope you have enjoyed. It's been nice to have Reef back. He didn't quit the show, I promise. It did take some bribing.
Wow, you forced me on. There is a gun just by here.
But we hope you have enjoyed. If you are listening on Spotify, don't forget to drop us a 5-star and a follow. It massively helps. And if you're on YouTube, drop us a like and a subscribe. We've actually been getting more consistent views on YouTube recently, so that is all good. But I have been Max.
I've been Reef.
And this has been the Push to Pass F1 podcast.